Yep. Well,
Uh,
hello, good morning, everyone. I guess everyone's starting to join in. So Travis couldn't make it today. He had a dentist appointment. So he asked me if I could, hop on and get the meeting going. And we are going to be having Gwyneth from Propy show you guys a little bit how to work Propy and go from there. And Gwyneth, do you have anything to say?
yes, I'll introduce myself. Gwyneth Iredale, and I'm the Senior Customer Success Manager. My video. It looks like I'd like to share my video, so give me a second to do that. I have a fair amount of experience in real estate technology. I saw the 2005 bubble in California. I lived in Northern California, so lived through that and I've been a homeowner and 3 transactions. So I have a little bit of understanding of both what agents look for and the consumer point of view for handling transactions. And gosh, it is, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I will show you the tools that Propy has to help give you a simpler way to view the status of transactions, the files, share if you like, and invite your clients, if you like, into the transaction, and really to get in and out quickly, because that is something that I know you're busy out there being with people. So I'm going to share my screen and I will show you how to log in. To make this a little bit interactive, do we have new agents who have not logged in yet? Annie, do we know that?
Not that. I probably a few here. Maybe we might. But I think majority, some of them might be already logged in.
Eva says yes. Okay, so what the admin at your company does, they invite you with a link probably to click, and you'll be able to set up your profile. So if you're an agent, you'll choose that you're an agent profile, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to sign in here. So you don't need to create anything on Propy. You'll get a special link to sign in. And then here's how you edit your profile once you've converted to an agent. I'm going to click Edit Profile. And I would encourage you to put your phone number, your mobile device here. And I think that if you don't have a login yet, Anahita, it looks like Marie, I can't see the full name, would like to get a link to log in. So you will get a link in an email notification to click. You'll come in and set your password, and you'll be able to convert to an agent if you're an agent. And then you'll have the ability to set up your account here. I would encourage you to please use the email address that you register with your MLS. So your business email address, because we're going to send you notifications. And likewise, please put your phone number that you wish notifications to come in at. And you have a place to create a public profile. We're not pushing this out anywhere, but it can appear if you choose to use your profile here. You can tailor it with your name, your title, and the location. So if you're in the new areas in Northern California, or you're in the San Diego area, go ahead and put your location here. And then you can put your summary here. I would just copy and paste from whatever you use. Here's the important thing, that you select Rise Realty from this drop-down list. So if I start typing, select it from there. But I'm in a demo account, so I would be just Propy. And then your license number. So I was demonstrating how co-listing, and if you don't have your broker's license, your agent license yet, use your brokerage, your managing broker's license. I think Travis will agree with that. So we do need to display for compliance your license number and your affiliation with your company. And you can add your logo there and then save changes. And I'm going to cancel that. And some of the bullet points, so the agenda items that I've been asked to cover are how to create a transaction and how to input the important information in the initial setup. And then we're going to show you how to manage your transaction if you choose to do so. So let me review, once you've saved your profile there, what you've got. And, you know, please feel free to ask questions, and I will sort of glance over and look and see if I can answer them in real time. But probably at the end, it would be better to hold them at the end. Are we recording this call? Yes, yes. Just wanted to announce it to everybody that we're recording the call. They probably heard it coming in. All right, so I have clicked Propy. This is sort of the home screen. At one look, you can see that 20 transactions. You can click create a transaction from here. You can click create a transaction from here. And you have a menu here where your transaction dashboard will appear. And you can create a transaction from there. Lots of ways to click create a transaction. Once you start to have a series of transactions, this is the agent point of view. You will have a dashboard full of transactions. I'm going to stay here for a minute to show that you have the data that you want to display is your choice. Maybe you work with a transaction auditor or a transaction coordinator here, or maybe you're doing this on your own. So you don't want to have that. Uncheck it. So you choose what's important to show in your own dashboard here. And as a time management tool, you can sort. You can search by the transaction name or property address. So here's your overview of all your transactions. So I'm going to click create a transaction. So I'm going to choose my role now. So if it's on the buy or sell side, you would choose that. And I would say, let's say I'm on the listing side. And it's a listing, it's not buyer representation. And you have a list of checklist templates that you may choose. So let me just make that a little bit smaller here. So you can choose a template here. Oh, this is see, this would be your own templates. So I'm just choosing this one. So now I have two different checklists assigned to this transaction. So I click create transaction. And here I am with filling in minimal details that are needed. So we can take a high level view. So let me pause here and explain what we have as a point of differentiation from tools that you may have used at other companies. Maybe you're new to real estate. This is a simple view. This is a view that the agent can use. And if you invite participants to the deal, to the transaction, they will have a simple view where the steps turn green as you complete them. And for the agents who choose to manage their own transactions, you have this easy view to see at any time the status. So I have, we've defaulted some users that are automatically added to your transaction. And this is so Travis can audit the documents, and maybe you have a transaction coordinator already added here, or an auditor, somebody who can help and oversee this with you. Here's a really cool thing about Propy. You can add your client. So if you want to add the buyer or seller, and this side of the deal, it's the seller. You can choose the role, put their name, phone number if they want to get notifications. So think through, how would this play out? Maybe you don't want to involve them. Maybe this was part of your value proposition, that I'm going to keep you updated for every step of the transaction because you're a detail-oriented person. So you can do that. If you have a closing attorney, etc. And you should have a transaction coordinator selected if you wish at your company. I'm not sure exactly how to, Anna, should we pause right here and mention the difference between agents who are doing their own transaction? Will they already know they're doing their own transaction?
I, to be honest, well, we do have a transaction coordinator that will be handling all the files. So if, I mean, if you're not working with a transaction coordinator, we feel free to let you guys handle the files. But if not, you could just basically send it in and, we'll handle everything.
So in this case, there can be a way to invite a participant. So you can write a message here. Now, these are notifications. Why are we using notifications? Because we believe in transparency, but also security. So the notification will come in by email. And if you put the person's cell phone here, they will get a text notification. And then you decide on the permission levels. Are you going to give visibility to all documents, or can they invite other people? So if it's a title rep, then you do want to give them permissions to have visibility to documents, and maybe they have somebody here at their company, so you can put the title company there. And then you hit confirm. So I am not going to save changes here. Oops, I pushed the wrong button. No. So I'm going to call this, let's say you're just starting out, and this is, well, I picked, it could be a buyer searching in a certain area, seller, whatever you want to nickname this transaction. You don't have to have a property, but in this case, let's just use my own 4439 Fox Hollow. I'm in Oregon, actually. The status is active. And of course, when the deal is closed, if the deal falls through, canceled, closing date. So let's say this would be, I don't know, 30 days or so. I'll pick that. And so this is the top level information that everybody can see at a glance. So depending where you are, $2 million. And if you're talking about crypto, you can just indicate, we have the ability to help you with crypto. Crypto is a currency to us, so regardless, you can say yes or no. And then you can put the deposit payment here. Save, always save. So what I would do first, and this is what I understand is your flow, get those documents in there. So opening a file, this is the first step in what you call opening a file. So we've got the initial step set up. It's green. Here is the email address for this particular transaction. So once you open a transaction, here is a menu on the right, and think of this as the details on the right. So the people who have been invited, some don't have access to this. Only the people who need to see checklists would have access to this. So agents and transaction coordinators. The storage here would be an email address you can copy just by clicking this icon here and have people send documents by email into this transaction. So whether you scoop up all your documents and send it in, or you have a deal participant who's going to send a pre-authorization, a loan officer sending in their pre-authorization document that you'd like to have here for the buyer who's going to be, I don't know, whatever you want in here, who's going to be buying this property. So the documents will all land in storage here. So let me show you a transaction. Oh, actually, no, I'll just do it. You have a couple of ways to do this. And on my desktop here, where to go? I have a folder of assets to add. And I'm just going to show you here. You can drag and drop. So do you see California disclosure? So that might be a good thing. It's popping in on my other desktop here. So drag and drop, email, or manually just click add files here. And voila, there it is. Do all at once. Oops, I missed here. Copy there. Hold on a second. It's hard to do. I'm using the click to add, so I'm supposed to go like this. All right, so I'm adding documents. Be aware that these are large documents in the case of California disclosures, especially. So give them a minute. You'll have the ability to view these documents as a list or a thumbnail view. So again, drag and drop. Oh, I keep missing here. Or add files. And I have this still open like it's thinking to add files. So there's that. Now you will have a lot of files in here. They're sitting here waiting to be assigned. You can open up a stage, and disclosures might be in the initial documents. And I'm going to drag them and place them into this stage. This is one way to work with our platform. So you can see what documents pertain to what stages. Now, why do we do that? That's because if you invite somebody to handle title and escrow, the title and escrow documents can be dragged here and they get to see this and they can send out signatures for you. So let's go back to this case of a disclosure document. So you need, well, in the case of a buyer, you probably need to have them sign disclosures. So let's pretend this is a document that somebody needs to sign and they're part of the deal as a participant in this transaction. So many of you are familiar with sending documents by Docusign. So I will show you what that looks like. Sign with Docusign. As a convenience, we are preloading the participants into the recipients of Docusign here. I probably shouldn't have picked such a big file. And then you're going to edit the participants there. Let me pick a smaller file than that huge disclosure with lots of pictures in it. Disclosures. So I'm going to do this again, add files here. And I'm going to do a list and select a smaller document here. And there we go. That's an example document. Sign with Docusign. Oh, I have to assign signers, sorry. So we're going to assign signers. And as I mentioned, we go ahead and preload the deal participants. I just noticed the document I assigned is kind of not pertinent. So go ahead and review the recipients. So this is really important. Do you need everybody to sign? I would not set signing order because for one thing, I'm not sure Docusign supports it this way, but it would require that the first person signs before the next person is asked to sign, and that can clog up. So who needs to sign this? Maybe not the attorney. So maybe only one person. Okay, and you don't need to CC anybody because the documents are all here. And so I now have just one person here. And now I would just drag the signature block indicator here. And you may be familiar with something that you've used in the past, that for Dorinda demo, these are the places that she needs to sign, initial and date sign, which will stamp it automatically. You can preview this. You have other actions here, and this will send a notification from Docusign. So this is a deep integration with Docusign. So you may have some experience with Docusign to know how that works. So I will close that and see these notification bubbles. This is sending notifications. So I am during a demo. I need to sign something. So that is pending my signature here. So now I want to assign this document to a checklist. Now, if I had a lot of documents in here and there was a clear title, a title for the document that is easy for us to see, we have OCR technology, and this makes it really easy. Let's say you have 30 documents in here that you've emailed in. They're sitting here waiting to be assigned to a checklist item. So know that you can click one button and have it auto-assigned. So how does that work? What you need to do in a transaction is assign a checklist. So here we are, we have documents in storage. We only have 2, but maybe realistically it's 20 more. So you'll have the opportunity to assign a checklist, which we chose in the beginning. Do you remember? We have checklists assigned, and you can open these checklists. Do you remember one was just a default? And you can see that there will be checklist items with names of documents. That's what we're going to match in this auto step. So we'll go back to the transaction, and you'll be able to see how the sign with Docusign moves into, let's say we've got the signature. You have the ability to automatically assign these documents matching the checklist step. So I'm going to pause right there. Does that make sense? So I clicked and it looked at the titles of these and matched them here. And it might be here, and you'll see a little green paper clip. I'll show you a transaction where this all happens. Now, if I apply the changes here, it didn't actually assign them. It's going to auto rename them based on the name of the checklist item. So a lot of times the documents come in with names that don't make sense, or convention that's another company's convention. So those items will be attached to the checklist. So what I've just covered is how to set up the initial information, invite participants, email in documents, assign them to a checklist, click auto assign, or individually sign with Docusign here. So there are a couple of ways to work with us and I'm going to show you a checklist that has actually been worked a bit. So let me open up a transaction that's a little bit farther down the road so you can see what it might look like. So similarly, we have a bunch of deal participants. We have storage with more documents. You can see here, manage files, assigned a checklist, assign them all, click auto assign. And now I could see that they got assigned and they're pulled out of storage. And these are the ones that could not be assigned automatically. So I'm going to go and find, and maybe this is CC&Rs, and drag that right there. So for the unassigned documents, you can find the checklist step and assign them there. Apply the changes, rename them, yes. All right. So I'm going to go back to the transaction and show you this checklist. I have 2 different checklists. I have set an offer acceptance date. I'm going to open the checklist. Now here's where we get down to a level of detail. So we have this template, but we can edit the checklist. It's been assigned from the library of templates. Now, if you need to make changes, you can go and make changes that pertain to your particular transaction. And we have some just made up names here. And you have some information about this transaction here. And I can see that in some cases, there are documents that need to be signed. I can set signing. This does not have a document yet. I can go in and attach that document, send for signatures when there are documents assigned here, and save changes. So let me show you some of the other things that we have on this. Actually, let me pick the other checklist. So you can have two different checklists depending on the situation. So here we have one that has documents attached. What if I want to message somebody about a task on this? So let's say it's the broker. Oops, Travis. I have a question about this. See their signature. Something like that. And maybe I want to send it to somebody here. I hope these are made up. Excuse me for spelling Travis's name is wrong. If you use a Google Calendar, maybe you want to add this to a Google Calendar. Add to calendar. There are a couple of steps to sync your calendar if you use Google Calendar, and now you can see that these tasks are on my Google Calendar. Add to calendar. There it goes. You can mark it as done. And you can also edit the checklist. Now, what if you have something that needs to happen after a certain number of days after the transaction creation date? So you can go ahead and set that up 4 days after the transaction's creation. Now, if you change the transaction creation date, if these dates change, then this will automatically change. Ooh, September. So in this case, you can also create a hard date. I don't know if hard is the right word, a set date, or a rolling date that's offset. And this transaction was created back in September. So there we are. You can take notes. This is a counter situation. So there's an addendum for counter here. So I took notes. I'm going to assign signers. The buyer's agent needs to sign that. I'm going to require signatures. So we will know that there is a step that has not been met. The signature has not been obtained. If it's obtained, this step will change to completed. So here it's uploaded versus a missing document or sent for signatures. Save changes. If you prefer to work this way, assign documents. This is another way to go look for documents. A new document has been sent. Drag and drop it to a step that doesn't have a document. So disclosures, that's a disclosure right here. Apply changes, auto assign, etc. So what I'm showing you are the detailed ways of managing this checklist. And I can always go back to the transaction for that overview that we have on the left. I don't see any questions right now. I'm going to pause for a second here. So I've been focusing on the initial setup and the initial documents. In this particular transaction, we've moved through and skipped a step, and maybe there's a deposit payment that has been uploaded. Does it need to be signed? Sign with Docusign, split, merge. I don't know if you are familiar with these tools, but you may be. I'm not going to drill down into too much detail. You can always download. But why would we download? So let's think about here the concept here. This is a platform where everybody can come see the status of the deal on the left. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 green commission distribution at this point, 4 green steps that have been completed. I have the ways to manage the details on this menu on the far right here. So I can see at a glance where we are. Notifications are going out for people to click a link and sign a document or load a document, and it brings them back onto the platform. What is the value proposition of that? This is a secure platform. We're not sending documents by email. You're not going to have to go back and search your email for documents. We have automatic notifications and reminders that go out. You have a way to customize invitations. You have a way to send notes. As I showed you, message, a task, a document signature, for example. And then everybody can congregate on this and have an immediate view. So what will that do? It will hopefully improve your lives, that you're not going back and forth and trying to figure out, you know, did the transaction coordinator do this, or did I remember to do this checklist step? So you have this view to keep track of where you are. You have the overview on the left, which has been described to me by somebody. This is in the analog world. This is a file cabinet. And you have drawers to open, folders of documents to put in and take out at any time, send a signature for a signature, and then they go back in automatically. Does that make sense? Let me check here. So we have reviewed how to input the pertinent information in the initial setup, how to upload documents in storage. You can either drag and drop, add files, or send an email. Break up the document. So in the case that you get one document in here that is contains a couple of different pieces. So Docusign has the ability to do that. What would be a, let's just use a long document. I'm looking for a long document that's more than one page. So we have the concept here of the 3 dots where you can split. So anytime you see these 3 dots, means there's more, there's a menu here. So I'm going to split this document. It's only one page. So to do that, you would click add a new document. So this is escalation. And then you create the other document name, and this would be second document, pages, 2 to 3, and then it would split. Click split. Does that make sense? Pretty easy, right? And then you would have 2 documents here. So let's take a look again. We have the ability to share these documents, assign signers, delete, rename them. This makes no sense. So this is escalation clause or escalation. And you have the ability to split and download. You also have the ability to merge. So in this case, this is a single doc, and what if I wanted it to be merged? So I have the same idea here. So I can find a document to merge. So I'm going to get out of that. And of course, you also have share and download available here as well. Get a Docusign signature. So we looked at getting a signature. Sign with Docusign. We looked at, just to repeat what I said, look at the people who are assigned to sign it. Add recipients if you want to, remove recipients. We've pre-populated this with the people you have invited or have defaulted into the transaction. I'm going to edit recipients. I'm going to take out anybody that doesn't need to get this. I'm going to click done. I'm going to, again, for Dorinda, she's blue. I'm going to put the signature would be at the bottom, but for sake of time here, maybe an initial, a date, a field to fill in a name. Then I'm going to move to the next person who would be yellow. Where does the other person need to sign, etc. And then I can click preview. And then when Docusign, when you click send, Docusign will send a notice that they need to click a link and come and sign this document. So I'm previewing Ilko. I'm previewing Dorinda. I just dragged 1 or 2. Yep. Any questions on Docusign? All right. So how are we doing on time, Anahid?
It looks like we're pretty good. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Feel free to, throw it in the chat box. That way Gwyneth can answer questions. So, are there tutorials online?
We have personalized training. Let us know. We can do one-on-one. We do have how-tos. We've added new features. Yes, let me show you where you can access those. So on the homepage, we've added a lot more. That's why if I sound like I was hedging, we have a page I can send. There's a knowledge base here at the bottom. I'm going to click that, and there's some how-to guides here. We also have a page of new features, and I'll ask Travis if it's okay to email all agents at your firm, at your various locations who has a Propy account about new features. And if you have feedback for us, maybe if and he wouldn't mind, funnel it through you and then send it to us. We have a support chat. Just open it up and you can ask a question, and you can choose a one-on-one right here with us. We have the ability to send a support email, support at Propy, Propy.com. So those are ways we can support you. It's probably faster to send a support email because we have pretty much 24 coverage on that, 24/7. However, the scheduled demo would be during business hours. And for me, it's Pacific time. Let me ask the question of, you asked about support. Is there an area that I need to cover in a little more detail? And I feel like I haven't finished yet. I have a few more things to show you at the status that we're at right now. I don't see anything in chat. So I'm going to pick up where we were. This is the transaction that we started, that you watched me start. We do have some help bubbles. When you start your account at Propy, when you log in, you will have something that will walk you through. They've been turned off for me. So to the point of learning and training, you will notice that there's going to be, I would encourage you to read what it says. There are just 1 or 2 sentences that will guide you through the tools that you have. Sometimes you feel like you're in a hurry and you just want to blast through, but it would be to your benefit just to spend a minute or 2 to read them so you understand what you've got here. So I showed you a transaction that had more activity. Here we are back to the new transaction, and I'm walking through the steps. I have unsigned documents that are here pending a signature, so it's not green. It will turn green once everything that is in this step is done. Deposit payment, for example, disclosures and reports, you can go in here, and if we have a disclosure, just drag it here and send it for a signature here if you want. It's pending a signature, it knows that. You can skip steps, as I mentioned, if you need to put a pre-authorization, anything to deal with mortgage. If you invite your mortgage partner, it's up to you. I will point out a few other things. Closing statements are here. Remember, this is a tool for you to use. Open the drawer, put in the closing statements if you want. But here is an actual tool for you to generate. If Travis wants you to create a commission distribution authorization, these are instructions on how to do a split. If you need to edit and your co-listing. So maybe you are the you want to split with this person, so 50%. And I don't know if this is relevant, but we have this tool to do that. Or you can specify an amount here. I've clicked on this, so half 30,000. Wow. And then you can fill in the information. These are instructions, if it's wire or check. And then you can add parties here and then submit, and we will generate. So there's unassigned. Yep. So generate a PDF that you can send for signature to your, oh, we still have this to do here. Please review. So this is Joe being that he agrees. continue, etc. So you can send this, let's see, send this commission distribution document that we generate here. Payment, this is a receipt of payment. And when you get to the deed and final documents, this is a piece I'm going to talk a little bit about blockchain. So we have this view of these steps here. Now, some of you may be unfamiliar with blockchain. We definitely provide the tools for a traditional transaction. You don't even have to mention blockchain. However, in your market and in your personal branding, if you want to meet the need of people who perhaps say, I want the security, immutability, you can tell them, we have a platform that is secure. It keeps a record of all the steps that happened. And we use smart contracts as a technical term. And it will register the fact that this deal closed, this transaction happened, whether buy, sell side, that the transfer of ownership happened according to the rules of real estate in your market in California. And you will get a blockchain registry, if this is important to them, that this property now has an ID and the fact that for the first time it was transacted and recorded on blockchain. So we have more learning about that later that I'd be happy to help people understand. But when you get to this deed and final documents, if it's important to you, we can share with you how that would work. You'd get a blockchain address. So let us know if that's important. And here we've time and date stamped some of these things. So January 6th, 9 a.m. And as these steps come through as green, that was also 9:30. So I've reviewed how we organize the information and why, because it's an easy view. It does relate to smart contracts so that your participants of this transaction can see an easy view. The agent can log in and see an easy view. We have a detail level on the right for managing storage, checklists, and just so you know, Travis will be able to audit your documents here. Pausing here. All right, so you have a transaction that's in the works and it's on your dashboard. So here's the new one. If I want to sort this by progress, I see that I have one or two that are still in earlier stages. And then I have the ability to sort. So our goal is to help you manage lots of listings at one time that have turned into a transaction. If you're a listing agent, and on the buy side, same deal here. You can sort by status. The transaction coordinator, if you choose to use, when it was last updated. Closing date, that might be a really important thing. And when it was created. And you have the ability to modify, again, just to remind you what these columns show. Export the selection. If you need to create a report on all the transactions, you can export this whole report as an Excel spreadsheet. But our whole goal is to give you the secure platform where everything can be kept organized and in one view. Pausing here. All right, well, it looks like the time that was allocated to this call is up. We said we would end at 9:45. I will invite you to reach out to me if that's okay, Anahid. I'll put my contact information in chat. Yep. So my name is Gwyneth, and it is tricky to spell, at propy.com. I will give you my cell phone number. I'm not always the fastest, so if you're expecting tech support, I would use support at, because that's more 24/7. And if I am in a meeting and I don't see your text or a phone call came in, there we go. Yep, I'm typing it there. I would be more than happy to set up an overview on how our platform can facilitate crypto. It's really up to you. Crypto is a currency as far as we're concerned, but we have a lot of experience with that. We also have some great learning pieces to that point. So I would say for those of you who are interested in crypto, our blog has lots of information for both traditional, but if you want to sort the topics by blockchain, which is the technology that cryptocurrencies are traded on, then you will see that we have information on can you borrow against crypto if you have a billion cryptonaire, as they can be referred to. This gentleman came in and talked about how his company can help people borrow against crypto or put a down payment in crypto if the seller will accept it. So here's some information that you can find for the person who is asking about crypto. What I'd be happy to do is stay on, Anahit, if you like. You could stop the recording for anybody who needs personal attention, or I can walk through setting up their accounts again.
Yeah, that's fine. We could go ahead and do that.
All right. So as a reminder for the people who want to leave